Alright, before we head on to Sonic Adventure, I would like to go over the last two games Sonic was on in the Sega Genesis in his glory days, specifically Sonic Spinball and Sonic 3D Blast. Now, for what ado, let's start off with Sonic Spinball. Sonic Spinball was released in November 15, 1993 in Europe and November 23rd in North America. Don't know specifically why the Europe and North American versions had different release dates, but I don't know. Even though the game was developed in America. In fact, the reason this game exists is specifically because there was a problem. Peter Moraik, who was working on Sonic the Hedgehog 3, was afraid since the game was not going to meet its Christmas deadline, Sega needed to push something out Sonic the Hedgehog related. So he came up with the idea. Sega's marketing team observed that the casino stage from Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Casino Night Zone, was one of the most popular stages in the game. So they decided to create a game based around the pinball mechanics of it, with John Dugan serving as the art director, who designed he started art assets and all that. The game's music was created by Barry Bloom and Brian Coburn, who did work on Sonic and Knuckles, I believe they did, I want to say Mushroom Hill Zone and Sandopoulos Zone was two of the big things they worked on. But the game was specifically just created to do that. But also, it's the only Sonic game to reference the cartoons that were going on at the time, Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic Sat AM. Fun fact though, this is the only Sonic game to have more than 7 Chaos Emeralds in it. In fact, the story of the game is the evil scientist Dr. Robotnik has built a giant contraption, the Vigo Fortress, on top of Volcano Mount Mobius, for the purpose of transforming the animals of planet Mobius into mindless robot slaves. The magma within the mountain fuels both the fortress and the pinball machine-like defense system that acts as fortification. Additionally, the volcano is kept in a stable condition by a series of Chaos Emeralds. In response, Sonic the Hedgehog and his friends Mile Tails Prower mount an aerial assault on the fortress, only to be ambushed by the fortress cannons. Sonic is knocked into deep waters that surround the volcano, but manages to avoid drowning and surfaces in the caves below the fortress. From there, Sonic infiltrates the fortress defenses, absconds with the Chaos Emeralds, and frees the animals on Mobius. In the absence of these Chaos Emeralds, the fortress explodes. Spoiler alert, Sonic wins. But it was released. Also, there was a Game Gear released in 1994, and the Master System got a port, basically, of the Game Gear release in 95. As for the gameplay of Sonic Spinball, the controls, from my personal experience with the game, dating back to 2003, when the Sonic Mega Collection came out, it's very clunky. And that's the case with a lot of spin-off Sonic games, is the control is never great. Specifically, the game has a very hard difficulty curve. Mainly because the fact is, it's a pinball style game. It runs off of pinball physics. And if, say, you're not particularly great at pinball, you're going to have a lot of trial and error. You're going to be there a while. You're going to have a lot of problems completing even the first stage. If you could tell by the footage, I am doing terrible because I suck at pinball. Thing is, it's hard, but once you know how to play it, it could be fairly fun. It's not a good pinball game. It's a great game, though, regardless. Mainly because it's got good music, presentation's really good, and the fact is, even if the control is somewhat crap, once you get around that, makes some getting used to, and I'm a very big stance. If a control is crap, but you can master said crap, and the game can be fun, it should hurt it a little bit, but it should not break the game. It'll break the game for casual people, but it won't break the game for someone who is dedicated enough to keep playing. Now let's go on to Sonic 3D Blast. Sonic the Hedgehog 3D Blast, otherwise in Europe known as Sonic 3D Flicky's Island, or in Japan is Soniku Survey di Fureiki and Londo. Was released in Europe and North America in 1996, a difference about a week. Japan and didn't get the game until the Sega Saturn version was released in 1998. But there was also a Microsoft Windows port released in North America on September 25th and then 5 days later in Europe in 97. The development of the game dates back alongside another Sonic game, Sonic Extreme, which was cancelled. The whole intended thing was Sega had, this game was in development alongside of it, and it was originally going to be for the Genesis, but Sega already discontinued the Genesis, but they allowed the release of the game anyway. But here's the thing. When Sonic Extreme was doing badly and they couldn't make their 1996 Christmas deadline with Sonic Extreme, Sega decided to port over Sonic 3D Blast to the Sega Saturn in hopes to have something on the table during the Christmas season. And people consider the Sega Saturn version and the Microsoft Windows version to be the superior ones, mainly because that it upgrades the graphics a little bit. Doesn't contain any big difference. Besides, I believe the Windows version has a save function, but nothing really extravagant. It was developed though by Traveler's Tales. Traveler's Tales, you might remember, developed games like movie tie-in games like the Finding Nemo game and stuff like that. Also, they developed pretty much every single Lego game, if I'm correct, like Lego Star Wars, Lego Harry Potter, Lego Indiana Jones, Lego Pirates in the Caribbean, stuff like that. They also developed Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex and Crash Bandicoot Twinsanity, along with Super Monkey Ball Adventure and Sonic R. So they were a well-known developer. Not the best, but a well-known developer. The gameplay of the game takes away what is pretty much considered a Sonic game. Sonic Spinball, you can tell it's a spin-off, but it's based around something that you know Sonic's already done, such as his route in the pinball stages in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Sonic 3. So the whole thing is, it goes to an isometric 3D perspective. And the whole story around the game is that flickies that live on an island in an alternate dimension can travel anywhere through large rings. So Dr. Robotnik wants them so he can collect the Chaos Emeralds. And with them, Sonic shows up, sees that Eggman has turned off his flicky friends into robots, so he goes on an adventure to stop it. But here's the thing. Also, speaking of the Chaos Emeralds, while we're still on that, this is the easiest game to 100%. The easiest Sonic the Hedgehog game, anyway. Mainly because that getting every Chaos Emerald in the game is ridiculously easy. You have 2 special stages every single level. You have a Knuckles special stage and a Tails special stage. All you have to do is find them and give them 50 rings. They will transport you to a special stage. The special stages are the easiest special stages in Sonic history, mainly because they're just moving left, right, jump, and it's a little not a slight back. You ever played a mobile game, like one of those dungeon runner type things? It plays like that, except extremely slower. So you have a lot of leeway, and it's really easy to dodge the obstacles in it. But Sonic 3D Blast's control, I remember playing this back in 2000, I think 4 or 3. We went to a flea market and we got this and Sonic R's PC port versions, and it's in a bargain bin at a Goodwill. Alright. And I remember playing this game a lot with a keyboard and mouse. So I'd like to say I'm somewhat decent at the game, considering I beat it originally with all 7 Chaos Emeralds with a keyboard and mouse, which was incredibly. You think the control of this game is bad with a Genesis controller or a Saturn controller? You haven't seen anything yet. But the best way to play this game is with an analog stick. So I recommend if you do play this game at any point, you'll probably get it at the Sega Ultimate Genesis or Ultimate Mega Drive collection, depending on where you live. or Sonic X, or yeah, it was released in the Sonic Mega Collection, and that's probably your best bet as far as playing this game. But nonetheless, it's actually a pretty fun game when you get down to it. The control is slippery, but I think that's kind of more of a design choice. It was meant to be slippery because you realize that the control was exactly like 100% point to point. Instead, it has that little slippery momentum to it. The game would be ridiculously easy. I mean, you could probably beat this game in less than 30 minutes. And you probably can't. And I'm pretty sure speedrunners can probably beat this game in less than 30 minutes. It's incredibly short, incredibly easy to pick up, play, and beat. The whole thing with it is just you have to get used to the control first, which is another... It seems to be a problem with a lot of Sonic games that tend to not be the best. They always come down to the control is not the greatest in the world, which turns off a lot of people. But if you're willing to give the game a chance, it's a short run through, and it's fun. It's like same thing with, I forgot to mention this with Sonic Spinball. The music in both of these games are magnificent, and even with the Genesis twang, it's still beautiful music regardless. And I think the Saturn version upped the music a little bit. Like, it didn't change it exactly, but kind of upped the audio quality so it doesn't sound as Genesis twangy. But regardless, it's a fun game. It's a fun time, and you could pick these games up in a bundle with every other Sonic game for the Genesis. And if you own a PlayStation 2, you get the Sonic Mega Collection Plus. I don't know how much exactly that's running for nowadays, but if you get that, you can get that with all the freaking what they call Game Gear games. I had a little brain fart there. So nonetheless, it's a fun game, good time. Pick it up. Next time, guys, when you see me, we'll be delving into Sonic Adventure. So I hope to see you guys then.
So move. Hey. That's a good move. I can't believe it. I'm losing to a rub.